Hi, how are you? Happy birthday. I am super excited to be making a video for you. And I hope that you are too, because I know that you have not been graced by the wonder of my face in many, many a day now. Uh, I miss you more than I can possibly tell you, Miss Gretchen Ang, and I hope that your birthday is everything that you've hoped for and more so far, as well as your Valentine's Day. Uh, Frankly, a day that I think mankind just came up with to try to forget that it's still winter and we have nothing better else to do. Uh, because frankly, I know I personally am so sick of snow. If I see one more snowflake, I'm gonna just vomit everywhere. I can't do it anymore. Anywho, uh, I wanted, because I know how much you appreciate them, I wanted to give you, for your birthday, which is what I do for all my best friends. I want to give you a tarot reading for free, of course, and just kind of see what's up, and hopefully we can give you some advice. Hopefully we can give you some good news, etc. Um, Anywho, so I already picked your significator. I chose a card that reminds me a lot about you. Uh, I chose the Princess of Swords, as I've told you in the past, sort of represents you. And I'm gonna lay some stuff out. I've already shuffled, and we're just gonna do a basic general Celtic cross for you and see what comes up. So your first card, uh, basically the card that's most directly affecting you right now, is the Six of Swords, the Lord of Earned Success. I'm just gonna tell you their titles and lay them down in order. Excuse me. Crossing you, or sometimes seen as the obstacle, or I sometimes see it as the immediate focus of the querent. You have the Hierophant, which is associated with teaching and education. Crowning you, which is basically the best possible outcome or the advice that the universe wants you to take in this situation. You have the Wheel of Fortune. Cool. At the root, which is the basis or ground of the situation, your foundation, you have Strength. In the past, you have the Two of Cups, the Lord of Love. And in the future, in the immediate future, you have the Hanged Man. And then we do the Four up the side, how you see yourself in the situation. The Three of Cups. Well, this is all very good. The environment, basically what's going on around you, seems to be based on the Prince of Pentacles. Ooh. Your hopes and fears are characterized by the Nine of Cups, the Lord of Material Happiness. And your overall outcome is the Princess of Wands. Another princess card. How like you. Sort of kidding. Okay. And on the bottom of your deck, you have the Fool, which is not a bad thing. It's not to say that you're a Momo. Okay, my little Ivy League slut bag. How much I love you, I can't tell you. But anywho, you have a very positive situation here, which is great because I've done birthday readings before where they haven't been so optimistic, and it's sort of a bummer telling people stuff like that on their birthday. But I figured that it's a gift for them anyway because hopefully they can reflect on it and do something about it. Anywho, you have a lot of positivity here, and it says that basically you have after kind of a period of not quite knowing what to do with yourself, like most of us, myself included. You seem to be on a better track currently. The Six of Swords always indicates coming out of a period that isn't so hot and trying to find a more peaceful middle ground. Kind of where you do some self-reflection, sort of analyze what you just went through, and try to remain open to experience. It also is a card that I associate a lot with exploration and sort of, well, it can be literally literal exploration, traveling to different places. It can also be the travel of an important learning experience. It can also be psychological development. But I know that you are currently applying to grad schools and whatnot, and I think that this is very appropriate for describing your situation, particularly since crossing it, and it's not necessarily a problem so much as it is a second detail. You have the Hierophant, who is the archetypal card of teaching and instruction and education. So it seems to me that your focus, very clearly, is on the furthering of your training and your personal education. How accurate is that? And the Fool at the bottom tells me that you are looking to get a fresh start and a fresh perspective. You might be a little wary and a little unsure of exactly where you're going. I mean, you're sort of in a stage of infancy in a way. I'm just gonna point these over here because you can't really see what the heck those cards are, and it wouldn't matter anyway. But the Fool talks a lot about fresh starts, and I kind of want to say having the courage and optimism to try something risky, to take a leap of faith, so to speak. So again, it also, I think, has to do with going to some place that you've never been before. Some of the schools that you've applied to, I know, are in places that you have never really lived before. It lived in before for a long time. I'm thinking, Eastman particularly. Uh, so anything you do would be a new experience. It'd be a totally new environment, and it would be a really new period of growth for you. The foundation of your of your spread, is strength, uh, over here, and that tells me that you are really rip raring to go here. You have a lot of enthusiasm about all this and this whole process, and you have realized that this is what you are indeed passionate about, and that this is indeed what you want to pursue in life, which is very important. Um, you just have a lot of enthusiasm and you go get them like spunk, and you always have, of course. So I think you've taken the past year or so, or however long it's been, not even, uh, to recharge yourself and to figure some stuff out. And I think you've done a very good job of that. Again, this reading is very positive. I don't have much advice to give you, as far, because there really aren't too many blockages or problems here. In the past, you have the Two of Cups, which is very interesting. It says you possibly have, well, the interesting thing is that despite all this, you may have focused more in the past on your relationships and possibly a love interest or interests, uh, generally speaking, whereas now, excuse me, you seem to be moving beyond that to some extent. However, at the same time, I'm not quite sure that you are entirely willing to let go of that, because you have this Prince of Pentacles in your environment over here, and I don't know if this is a young man that you are considering a gentleman caller or anything like that, but he could be. In which case, I'm absolutely thrilled for you. It's about damn time. Um, but at the same time, you have in your future the Hanged Man, which tells me that you are in the future going to make some kind of self-sacrifice, and I you're on such a roll right now that that's really the one thing that I see that I don't feel so comfortable with. I don't think it's going to last long or have too tremendous an effect, but the alternative is that the Hanged Man is simply saying that you have to sort of play a waiting game in the immediate future, that you won't really know exactly what you're going to be doing come the fall for a while, until results come out, and you get your I guess all your stuff in, and you get all your responses back. So it could represent that. It could represent either or. But I do think it's interesting that you seem to have this love interest in the past, and it's not entirely something that's holding you back, uh, but at the same time it could be. So I would just tell you to be wary of that. To definitely not let that hold you back. And I think that again you're riding on such a high current of enthusiasm and passion that I don't think you're really going to let that get in your way. However, you do feel, and perhaps it's just because of today or in general lately, you feel a great sense of thankfulness, I want to say, for all the gifts you have been given. Your perspective on the situation is the Three of Cups, which I always associate with a sense of gratitude and also a sense of celebration. It's an idea of appreciating the things that make you happy, and reaping the benefits of the things that make you happy. It's just a big old card of celebration, and so perhaps that does have to do with literal birthday celebrations, being surrounded by friends and family that you very much love. And of course, every time your birthday comes around, or a birthday comes around rather, you always get such an outpouring of love from people, that it could represent that. But I think more specifically, it seems to be connected to your situation here of applying to grad school. That perhaps um, it could be functioning on a lot of different levels. You could feel that in these places that you visited and auditioned, you've made important connections either with the people there or with the environments there, the programs there, what have you. You feel like they're good fits for you, and perhaps even that might be why, uh, part of why you feel so enthusiastic about this. You seem to have a lot of support around you right now from your friends and family, sort of pushing you and motivating you, and I think that's great because for obvious reasons. But it's kind of lovely, and I agree that they should be motivating you because you're a very talented girl, and I think you're going to do big stuff. Uh, I still don't quite know who the Prince of Pentacles is. Again, I don't know if this is someone that you're interested in, and the only reason I say this is because of that ambiguous Two of Cups in the past, and that could even be taken in a less literal sense. But it is the Lord of Love, and it's a different kind of love from the love of strength, which represents passion and enthusiasm, for your ambitions and your goals. Whereas the Two of Cups is more like with a person, more specifically. So it's kind of interesting. The Prince of Pentacles could also represent someone, a male figure, who is involved in the situation in some way, uh, who probably has a very practical disposition, is very down to earth about the whole thing, could possibly be someone you look to as a mentor, because he does resonate very strongly with the Hierophant in the center of your spread. I'm just going to turn this around again. Okay, um, so I'm talking about this guy here, the Prince of Pentacles, and he's a Taurus, and the Hierophant is a Taurus. So again, the Prince of Pentacles might be someone that you've looked to as a mentor or a teacher. Um, it could be someone that you are looking to work with at one of these particular places that you've applied to. Um, uh, and perhaps that's the primary person that's been motivating you. Uh, the one thing that I don't see a whole lot of, well, excuse me, I was going to say you're missing a little bit of earth. but well, you do have earth, you do have air, and you do have fire, and you do have water. You have more water than anything else, and overall, which means your emotional, your artistic side is definitely a factor here. And everything seems to be pretty balanced, actually. It didn't seem to be at first, but actually, the more I look at it, it actually is very balanced, which is good, which means that you're doing something right. Okay. And the fact that you have a lot of really important cards here tells me that, again, this is a significant life change for you. That is what you're supposed to be doing. It is part of pursuing your higher calling, which is why it means so much to you, and which is why you're so enthusiastic about it. And I guess in that light, I would say that in the future with the Hanged Man, when this sort of doldrum period hits you, don't let that kill your enthusiasm. Try to continue riding this high current of strength and excitement about your career choice, basically, or the choice of career path. Continue to be enthusiastic about that, and I think don't let your hopes sink, particularly if one or two places don't work out, or if you feel like you've had to wait too long. I would suggest not to let that bother you, or even literally, if we were to take that literally, if you get put on a waiting list or something like that, don't panic. Is I think what the message is here, because in the top position, which is the one card I haven't really talked about yet, or one of the few, you have the Wheel of Fortune, which is a very benevolent card. It's Jupiter acting upon Venus, and so it is basically mercy acting upon victory. So it's a very happy card for the most part. It is the idea that, yes, the universe always changes and is always in flux, but that the right course of action for all things is ultimately taken, even though things may not necessarily seem that way. And to simplify that a lot, it just means luck is on your side here. That the universe is basically going to fix itself to make this all happen for you. It might just seem to take longer than you might expect it to for some reason. Again, it's going to. I think the Hanged Man really is just saying. I don't think it's saying anything about an attachment that would get in the way of all this. I really just think that it signifies waiting for a result, and perhaps some of the anxiety of not really having much control over it anymore. You've worked very hard, clearly, at making all this happen, and you have to relinquish control of that process at this point and leave it up to other people. And of course, that's always nerve-wracking. And it's uncertain. It's uncertain. So don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt the path. Don't doubt your choices in this. It does say that, again, that I think you're going to come out on top in all of this. Your hopes and your fears are represented by the Nine of Cups. So you hope that this will be the fulfillment of all your happiness, that this is what you've always wanted to do. Perhaps if you had to read it as a fear, you might be afraid that since this is what you've always wanted to do, if it doesn't work out, that would be particularly soul-crushing. And again, I think we have to trust that when we actually rouse up the courage to pursue that which we really do feel strongly about and passionately about, it just is the natural course of the universe to cater to that. Because usually what makes us really inspired is connected to that which who we are meant to be in the first place, and that identity that we are meant to eventually become. And of course, that being the most natural course for us to take, the universe, which is nature itself, naturally responds to that positively. Your overall outcome is also very positive. You have the Princess of Wands, which is very similar. I always associate that sort of like a miniature version of the Fool that we talked about on the bottom, that sort of fresh beginning, that new start, in some ways being kind of ignorant, of what's going to come or the certain circumstances of it, but because of it being so new and because of it being a totally new experience. And the Princess of Wands is sort of similar to that. I always see her as someone who's on the brink of starting a journey, like the Fool, but in a way that's a little more, uh, it's a little more human and a little less divine. The Fool is the highest of the major arcana, whereas the Princess is the lowest of the fire cards, but she is sort of just recklessly pursuing her passion, and that's a beautiful thing. She acts with beauty, and she acts with a kind of vivacity and love for life that I think is very important. Uh, so I think it says, it just points to you. Um, I think it says in some ways that you do have a lot to learn, uh, but that you're going to remain enthusiastic about learning all of it, which again is very important. I'm going to draw two more to sort of clarify her, to sort of get some more information here. And it's well, it's all very positive except for the of Cups. Excuse me. It says that well, it says that you are going to be successful in a material way, uh, uh, perhaps financially speaking, and I'm not quite sure what to make of that Five of Cups. It seems that it the actual result of all this is not quite going to be what you think it's going to be, which sort of uh, undercuts a lot of what I just said, I realize. Um, but everything else is so strong that I don't think it's going to be, again, kind of a soul crushing disappointment. The Five of Cups is called the Lord of Loss and Pleasure, and it's also called the Lord of Disappointment. But I don't think, again, that it's going to be such a disappointment as to deter you entirely from this path. I think it's just saying that it's going to have its ups and downs like anything. And maybe even that's what the Wheel of Fortune is telling you as well, that even though this is what you are intended to do, which I still firmly believe based on all of this, um, it's still a wheel and it still has its ups and downs, its goods and its bads. Uh, so because those two extra cards, the Six of Pentacles is perfectly positive, but the Five of Cups is not so positive. So the two of them kind of cancel each other out, so we get sort of just a basic feeling of up and down. Um, yeah, I mean, mm, okay. I'm just reading some of the things at the bottom of your deck now. Below the Fool, and you do have the Two of Swords with the Universe and the Nine of Swords. So I think that this is coming because we didn't really talk a whole lot about the Six of Swords at the basis of the situation, and I mentioned that it was sort of coming out of a period of well, sort of a down period, not so great of a period. Even though you have this lovely Two of Cups in the past, it doesn't seem to be quite as rosy as it may at first appear. Because you do have the Two of Swords and another card separating it. The Nine of Swords, which tells me that part of this is um, a sigh of relief in a way after being stressed for a long time. And it does have this big sense of completion and coming to fulfillment. It can also represent the understanding of knowing one's place in the world around you. Um, and so it can represent, I think, that is the basis of this problem, is that you have been, for the past few months, very concerned and very stressed about, and unsure also, sort of torn between two things about exactly what you should be doing in life. And that is, I can speak very much to that myself, and it sucks. I am sort of just finally coming out of that and realizing that I sort of have to try to do both simply for practical reasons. and also to remain satisfied. Uh, but yeah, yeah, okay. So that's basically what's on the bottom, and again, the Fool in that case really does represent a new start away from all of that. That's a lot more optimistic. And so this is probably the most optimistic you've felt in a long time, which is really good, and I'm very glad to hear that. And I think, again, that is another sign that you should be trusting all of these positive vibes, so to speak. And I know how interested in New Ageisms, like positive vibes you are, but there is more than a grain of truth to it. Um, your middle pillar is very strong here, the central line here, and everything else around it is very positive except the Hanged Man, which, if I read it Kabbalistically, I would say that there is a little bit too much on the side of mercy and not enough on the side of severity. Uh, but that's sort of irrelevant here. And that doesn't mean anything to you, so again, totally irrelevant. Uh, I think overall this is really good. I do. I know the outcome isn't quite as resplendently positive as it could be, um, but I drew one more for kicks, and you know what you got? You got the star, which not only is Aquarius, your birth sign, but it's also a card of great, again, optimism, hope, and opportunity. I always associate the star with having a lot of options on the table and a lot of different possibilities being available to someone, and the optimism that comes with having that many infinite possibilities seemingly available to one. And I think that that is what is going to be the saving grace of whatever trials you go through. And of course, it's grad school. I mean, you're going to have experienced disappointments and successes equally. Of course, you know that as a rational person. And I think the star is telling you that that by going through this path, you will have many more open doors for you, which is very important ultimately, and that you will be excited to try all of any and all of them. It'll give you a lot of different choices. Sorry, I heard something outside my door. Anywho, I guess I mean that sort of sums it all up. And I mean, unfortunately, I know a, a bit about. Sorry. Unfortunately, I know a little bit about your personal situation. Um, so I mean, I can kind of infer some of this. Sorry, I was hearing stuff. Um, I can infer some of this, but a lot of it. I mean, I shuffled these cards. I didn't pick them out myself. I promise. I'm not lying to you. This is what really came up totally randomly, and it is very accurate to describe your situation. So anywho, I hope you had a really great birthday. I hope that this was helpful for you, and I hope that it made sense. I hope you're not mad at me for doing a tarot reading for you. Ha ha ha. Um, I am so glad to know that you're going to be re-entering uh, a the field that you love, and I'm so glad that you're going to be pursuing your passions and that which makes you really happy, because I know that you are a person so full of enthusiasm and love for what you do that that I think it's really inspiring even for me, and I don't know, I'm so happy for you, and I can't wait to see what you're going to do and where you get in and where you end up, and you've got to keep me posted. Okay? Um, I love you very, very much, and I do miss you tremendously. And every time you send me text messages, it like makes my day. So by all means, uh, feel free to to say hi whenever the spirit moves you. Um, Anywho, that's about it. I mean, on my end, I guess, just to tell you a little bit about what I've been doing. I don't know. I'm doing my 3 conducting jobs, still conducting the show choir, or rather musically directing the show choir at my old high school, Woo! It's like pulling teeth sometimes, but we're persevering in the spirit of things. Uh, and other than that, I'm at a new parish that I started back up in the fall, and that's going really well. I have rehearsal with them actually in about an hour. Um, then I have my about 100-person community chorus, which is also a lot of fun. They do like pops music and stuff, and it doesn't always thrill me, but it's a lot of fun, and the people are super super nice, and it's just awesome experience to work with a choir that big, you know. So it's really cool. Uh, Other than that, I don't know. I'm applying to Rhode Island College currently to try to get certified, as I think you know, because I'm so desperate to get out of my house. You know, all of those jobs are so part time that I make enough money to pay off my loans, and so financially I'm okay. But I would love to move out of my parents' house, and I would love to, I don't know, have a social life again. So that would be cool. Um, and yeah, I don't know, and I just feel like I need to be doing more with myself. So that's about it. Um, yeah, I don't know. If you have any other questions for me about all this, or if you want another reading or anything, I don't know. You're always more than welcome to ask. And yeah, I love you tons, and happy birthday. Okay. Let me know what you think of this. Let me know if you thought it was accurate or not, or if you thought it was downright stupid. I'm sure part of you thought anyway whether it was accurate or not. Okay. Anywho, love you much. Bye.